All right, so this is about piercing through the armor of injustice with arrows of truth, and this is a big giant beast, but certainly this giant beast, and we're going to exploit the weakness, right? So there's a weakness, right? Every giant beast that is built upon this house of cards, and it's all it is. It's just a house of cards. I mean, they got all these regulatory bodies and everything just to protect the injustice and keep the killing of the baby killing machine going. It's quite egregious, but let's continue on. All right, so unrelenting exposure of lies. So the pharmaceutical industry and its allies hide behind manipulated definitions, misinformation, and euphemisms. The truth must be brought to light piece by piece until the entire falsehood collapses. And a lot of people will believe these. They will believe this. Pro-life people will believe the pharmaceutical industry lies. They will not understand that the birth control pill actually kills the baby, right? It just causes a miscarriage. That's all it is. Well, not really a natural miscarriage. I mean, these are perfectly healthy babies, right? This is a perfectly healthy baby boy or baby girl. The pregnancy is viable, and because of these birth control pills, the baby will die at the very natural stage of implantation. So the baby is conceived. It's a unique set of DNA. 50% from the mother and 50% from the father, and the baby will die a week up to 6, 7, 8, or 9 days in the later and very natural stage of implantation. So forcing accountability. Every institution, every regulatory body, every doctor who ignores the reality of these drugs must be confronted. They will not be allowed to hide behind bureaucracy or dismiss complaints without scrutiny. So, I mean, this is a legitimate complaint, but the only thing that they were able to do is to dismiss the complaint, was to say, well, we don't have any evidence, and we're not going to try to get the evidence. That's basically what they're dismissing the complaint here, how they're dismissing the complaint. So there's going to be some scrutiny, appeals, and all this stuff. It's going to be appealed, but what is the regulatory body? The sorry, not the regulatory body, the oversight committee. Well, they're gynecologists. Well, very convenient. Of course, the gynecology will, the College of the American College of Gynecology. Those guys are the ones pressured by the pharmaceutical industry to be able to sell these drugs are the ones who say, well, the starting of life is just implantation. It's not even true. I mean, embryology, fails to admit that, right? Embryology will be very, very clear that the fertilization, right, the conception, when the sperm meets the egg, that's day zero, right? That is the first minute, the first, microsecond of life, not implantation. I mean, that's just nonsense. I mean, anybody who would suggest that implantation is the starting of life is just, that's a whole lot of folly. That's a whole lot of folly. Mm. All right. So exposing conflicts of interests. Um, oh, sorry. Number three, legal precision. Just as a warrior selects the sharpest arrows, the legal strategy must be precise. Violations of informed consent, professional misconduct, and medical ethics will be dissected and presented in a way that cannot be ignored. All right, so these arrows must be sharp, and the weak point. There is a weak point, and there must be a weak point in this giant beast, and we must, you can imagine, an archer. With a very, very sharp arrow made of the purest, titanium or whatever you want, it will sling the stone or the arrow or at the beast's eye, right? Which beast? Well, Dr. Michel Dow. She's part of the beast. And I will, ceaselessly ensure that she is either held to account, in a civil trial, or in a criminal where she belongs, in a a conviction, right? A criminal conviction. The indictment there, which is extremely important, the conviction, and of course sentencing it to a period of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 25 years in a federal penitentiary. Now, all right, so exposing the conflicts of interest. So people who profit from the mass prescription of these drugs cannot be the same people deciding their ethical and legal standing. every financial and ideological conflict of interest will be laid bare. Right. So let's say, for example, a gynecologist would be on the oversight committee, right? So how is that? How is that not a conflict of interest, right? How is that not a conflict of interest? Relentless public awareness. The battle is not just in the courtroom, but in the hearts and minds of the people. The public must see the truth, how these drugs function and how they harm, and how they are deceptively marketed as harmless. And that is absolutely true. They are certainly marketed as, they will not prevent, they will not, cause a miscarriage. They will not say that. Of course, if they say that, they will not sell any kind of drugs, right? So that's the whole point, is the deceptive marketing there. All right, so holding decision makers to their own standards. If medical boards and doctors claim to uphold patient rights and ethics, they must be forced to prove it, right? Their own standards will be turned against them when they try to dismiss or downplay the facts. They're not even dismissing the facts, they're just, dismissing the entire complaint on a technicality. Very convenient, right? They don't even have to touch the facts. Very, very cool for them. But it really shows their, the bad faith. It really does show the bad faith, right? So bad faith is evident in their dismissal. That's why dismissal is so important, right? The dismissal of the case on a technicality is so very, very important because it does outline or highlight, I should say, their bad faith. So no hiding behind procedures. Injustice often protects itself with red tape and procedure. That armor must be pierced. If complaints are dismissed on technicalities, new legal angles will be pursued. If authorities refuse to act, they will be called out publicly and legally. Moral and historical judgment. The truth always outlives the lie. Those who stand on the wrong side of history enabling the destruction of life will face judgment, not just in the courts, but in the eyes of future generations. So absolutely, for sure, right? And she's on the national news from the West Coast, the Pacific Ocean, all the way to the East Coast and the Atlantic Ocean, and even up north to the Arctic Ocean. She's on the Canadian national news, on the Public Broadcasting Corporation there. And it's such a sham. It's such a sham that we will honor this lady here fighting for women's rights and all this stuff, but she's killing the next generation. She has the audacity to put herself on the national news. She has the audacity to put her face on the national news. Oh man. So now, oh yeah, she's a pillar of the community and she stands up for women's rights and all this stuff. Well, she does not. She just exploits these women by lying to them. These minor children, these young girls, and they're not women yet, right? Women, if you're a woman when you're 18, well, certainly the girlfriends that I had in high school were not 18, and I was engaged in that kind of stuff, that I should have never been doing with those girls, and they were on the pills, right? And they were not 18. They were in high school, right? 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, on the pill. Right? Why did they get the pill in the first place? Because Dr. Dow and others like her will, I guess diagnose her natural fertility as a problem, or maybe the child himself. That's the illness. The baby boy or baby girl. That's the illness. Where is the illness? There is no illness. She's a perfectly healthy young lady. She's a perfectly healthy young lady. So why do you need to cure? Right? That's your job, is to cure illnesses. That is literally the job of a doctor, is to cure illnesses. Right? And where's the illness? Well, her natural fertility, her endocrine system is, pushing the ovulation process from very natural process. What is the illness? There is no illness. There is no illness that you must put your dirty signature on that prescription pad. Oh, what a mess! What a mess that she made. I cannot even imagine in my whole life that my own cousin, we share the same grandmother, would kill my child. I am again getting a little bit ahead of myself here, so never backing down. This fight will not end with one rejection or dismissal. Of course, it was of course it was very, very obvious that they were going to dismiss. But I wanted to see how they were going to dismiss it and all this stuff. It will persist until the armor of deception is shattered and the truth stands undeniable. Every setback is an opportunity to refine the strategy and push harder. The arrows of truth will be fired relentlessly, one by one, until no lie, no deception, and no evasion can withstand the force of justice. So there's got to be the justice. I mean, there has to be. You cannot have any kind of society unless you want the whole society to crumble. That the injustice continues in the favor of who some pharmaceutical industries owned by a group of these guys that are again a who. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter who. It just matters what they did and how we can prevent it in the future, right? How we should prevent it in the future is exactly this, right? And never, unrelenting in this search against the injustice. Right, so we got arrows, arrows of truth, the sharpest legal arguments and everything made. A cannonball made a fire of truth. It should be shot right at the Clare Health Center. I'm not going to shoot any kind of cannonballs, but I am certainly going to file the appeal and continue with these videos here. I'm not saying there's any kind of real arrows, and very very clearly I'm not going to shoot anything. I'm not even in the country, man. I left that place a long time ago. I'm not going to shoot any kind of arrows made of truth. And here comes the RCMP. Huh? Oh, you're threatening and all that stuff. And no, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna. I don't have any arrows. I'm not an archer. But here they got to do something to try to try to censor my YouTube channel here sometimes. But hey, don't get me wrong. If my YouTube channel gets censored, I get them all saved, and it's going to be again. I'm going to re-upload them. This information is going to stay on the YouTube. We'll make a video about that a little bit later. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I'll see you guys in the next video.